Hello and welcome. This is McGoobage. My name is Andy and this is a fairly new YouTube channel. For those of you that have seen my channel before, you would have seen that I did 2 playthrough series last season and got sacked twice in non-league. I'm useless with tactics. The thing is, I know there are plenty of people out there that also are. You're a bit like me, you struggle. So, I've been on the community forums, I've been around different websites, and I'm going to put together a tactical experiment. Now this experiment will be 4 of the most popular tactics tested with every single Premier League team, starting with the top 6 this week and then moving forward to the rest of the Premier League, just to see how effective they actually are. Now there are 2 types of people that play Football Manager in my view. It's those that have the time to create and develop their own tactics, and there are those that don't have the time, that would love to have the time to develop their own tactics but need to play the game for an hour or a couple of hours a day or a couple of hours a week. They just want to download a popular one and give it a whirl. Hopefully these videos will give you a bit of a guide as to what tactics work with each team to help get me started. Let's get straight into it. Tactic number 1 is by Knap, who's a popular poster on the forums, the SI community forums, and it's the 4-2-3-1 Beowulf. There's plenty of different versions on here. He tests I think on FM Touch and things like that. It's the Giraffin version that we're going to be using. That is tactic number 1. That's a 4-2-3-1 formation. I'll go into it when we get into the game, but that's tactic number 1. Tactic number 2 is by Fuss, Minimal Fuss, Fastidious I should say. Again, a regular poster. He's a regular poster on this particular forum, and I'm using the stable version 2. So all the links to the tactics will be in the description. Minimal Fuss, Fastidious, version 2, the 4-1-2-2-1 formation. Tactic number 3 is by Rossler, who is another brilliant technician, and he's a regular poster on the forums. His is the Steadfast, a flat 4-1-4-1 formation. Very, very popular, and again he has a lot of success with his tactics. This will be implemented as tactic number 3. Tactic number 4 will be Jamie's 4-2-3-1 attacking Catenaccio with set pieces. This is a very popular tactic on his Twitch channel, and this is going to be tactic number 4. It's now Man City with the 4 tactics as described in the opening of this video. Let's see how they get on. So to tactic number 1, and this is Knap's Beowulf tactic. It's a tip-set tick-attacker style tactic. It's attacking, slightly short passing to space, play out of defence, low crosses, run at defence, work the ball into the box, overlap on both sides, lower tempo. In transition, you take short kicks, distribute to fullbacks, counter press, out of possession, defend narrower, higher defensive line and line of engagement, extremely urgent, prevent the short goalkeeper distribution, you get stuck in, using tight marking and use of the offside trap. Just to confirm, I'm picking players based on their abilities. So the highest rated players based on their positions and abilities. That's the constant that will be throughout all 4 tactics. Some players won't fit the positions, but they are the highest rated, so they're going to be playing. And also, if you're not aware or familiar, this is the first time you've seen one of these testing tactics videos. The staff are assigned. I think I recorded this before I did it. So this is all changed. So the staff will be assigned to do everything basically. So they're going to be taking over the team talks, also the pre-match briefings, everything else. I'm literally just going to have no responsibility. Go on holiday for a season. That's tactic number 1. Let's see how it performs. Oh, now this is interesting. Looks like I've been sacked. So profile, history, job history. Man City. History, managers. I was in charge until the 27th of February and I was sacked. So let's have a look at the schedule and see what happened with this particular tactic. So, lost the Community Shield. Won their first Premier League game, but then lost away at Liverpool. Won the Champions League first game. Won the EFL Cup 3rd round against Leicester. Lost to Arsenal. So they lost to Liverpool and Arsenal in the opening exchanges of the Premier League. Beat Celtic in the Champions League. beat Chelsea in the Premier League, beat Dortmund, which is not nothing to be sniffed at, 5-0 at home in the Champions League, beat Fulham in the EFL Cup 4th round, lost to Dortmund 3-2 in the group stage, beat Leicester 6-0 in the Premier League, beat CSKA Moscow 4-1 away, Champions League, lost to Watford Premier League after beating local rivals Man United 4-0 in the Premier League, beat Celtic in the Champions League group, won the EFL Cup quarter-final 4-2, then went on an unbeaten run in all competitions against Huddersfield, West Ham, Southampton and Liverpool in the Premier League, beating Liverpool. FA Cup 3rd round, they beat Man United 3-2. What's going on here? Why was I sacked? Beat Liverpool in the EFL Cup semi-final 1st leg away, and then beat them at home 5-3 to go through to the final. Beat Forest 5-3 in the FA Cup 4th round. This is where maybe it's gone wrong. So it was a good start, progressing well in all competitions. End of January, lost to Bournemouth in the Premier League. Lost 5-3 at home to Tottenham. Lost to Arsenal. Drew with Barcelona in the first knockout round away, which is a good result. Palace drew in the FA Cup 5th round. Lost to Cardiff in the Premier League. So there was 4 Premier League defeats in a row. Won the EFL Cup final against Arsenal. Beat Crystal Palace in the 4th FA Cup 5th round replay. And then lost to Burnley in the Premier League. So 5 Premier League defeats in a row. Sacked. So they went on to beat Barcelona. This is without me. Beat Leeds the FA Cup. Lost the FA Cup semi-final 4-1 to Liverpool. Lost the Champions League quarter-final, was knocked out. Lost the Premier League to Man United. So he won the EFL Cup, but that was the only trophy that Man City won. Premier League, they finished 5th. Let's have a look at. Let's have a look at their. Oh, actually, I need to go to the Premier League. And I need to go to. How can I see the stages? I don't know. I can't remember how you can do that. So Man City. Hold on. If I go, I can't go. Can I go competition senior squad? How can I see where they were? Never mind. League positions. So I was sacked as the manager using tactic number 1. So we can't really give you an overview on the players, on how they really performed. I guess we can look at the end of the season. I mean, we were there for the majority of it. De Bruyne was the main man, followed by Fernandinho, Sane and Aguero. Goals, Aguero got 32, Sane 18, Fernandinho 16 and De Bruyne 12. So tactic number 1, sacked. So tactic number 2 is the minimal fuss is fastidious. This is the 4-1-4-1 formation. It's positive in possession, short passing, play out of defence, work the ball into the box, lower tempo, frequently waste time. Roll it out, distribute to fullbacks, counter press in transition. And out of possession, a higher defensive line, prevent the short goalkeeper distribution and use of the offside trap. This is a tactic that has the least amount of instruction. Goalkeepers a sweeper, keeper on defend, Edison. Wing backs on support, Mendy and Walker. 2 centre backs on defend, Laporte and company. Defensive midfielder, Fernandinho. Box to box, De Bruyne. Mazzala, Silva on attack. Inside forwards on support, Sane and Sterling. Up front, deep line forward on attack, Aguero. So, we're going to play this through for the whole season and see how it gets on. Tactic number 2. Tactic number 2, I'm sacked again. My history, job history, Man City. We were 4th when I was sacked. Let's just have a look at their schedule. So let's see what happened. Won the Community Shield. A good opening unbeaten run in all competitions in the Premier League. Drawing with Liverpool. They won the first Champions League game. They beat Tottenham. They won the EFL Cup third round. Suffered defeat away at Arsenal. Okay, Galatasaray away, drew Champions League. Beat Chelsea at home, Premier League. Drew with Dortmund at home, Champions League. Lost to Chelsea, EFL Cup fourth round and knocked out. Beat Everton, Premier League. Beat Dortmund, Champions League away. Lost to Brighton away, Premier League. Beat CSKA Moscow, Champions League. And a good away win against Crystal Palace, Premier League. Lost to rivals Man United at home in the Premier League. Galatasaray won Champions League. Again, a long unbeaten run here in all competitions, Premier League, including victory over Liverpool, an FA Cup third round win over Wigan, and an FA Cup fourth round win over Crystal Palace. Bournemouth, they lost in the Premier League away. Beat Tottenham and Arsenal in the Premier League. Drew Champions League knockout leg away against Monaco. Drew the FA Cup fifth round and then lost to replay. Was then knocked out of the Champions League by Monaco in the first knockout round. Disappointing, I guess. Premier League lost away at Everton. Staff. Now let's just go back and see when I was sacked. So my history, Man City, staff, history, managers. So I was sacked on the 8th of March. So let's go back to the schedule. Yep, we lost to Monaco in the Champions League, got knocked out at home, and then we lost to Everton in the Premier League, and that was enough for the board, and I was sacked. Using tactic number 2. After that point, there was no cup competitions, Champions League left, so it's Premier League all the way. And Man City lost only one game in the run-in, and that was to Man United away, which is unfortunate. They did beat Chelsea, Brighton. They drew with Leicester, beat Palace, Watford, Wolves, Southampton, West Ham, but lost to United. So in the Premier League, Man City finished in third. I left them when they were fourth. Let's just go back and have a look at the players. Senior squad, average ratings for the season. 7.2. Company, Kyle Walker and Laporte. So the defenders come out best. Goals, Aguero only on 21. He was the only one that managed double figures. Disappointing tactic. That was tactic number 2. So this is tactic number 3. This is Rosler's Steadfast 4-1-4-1 version 2. Now the mentality is attacking, which is surprising based on the formation. So in possession, slightly short of passing, you pass into space, play out of defence, low crosses, run at defence, work the ball into the box, and you focus play for the middle of the pitch. In transition, you take short kicks, you counter press. Out of possession, defend narrower, high defensive line and line of engagement. It's extremely urgent. You try and prevent the short goalkeeper distribution and use of the offside trap. Again, all the staff are in charge of everything. I'm picking the best rated players. As you can see, Sane and Sterling don't suit that particular position, but they are the highest rated in the squad by the game. For consistency, it'll be the same throughout all 4 tactics. Let's see how this gets on. Tactic number 3, sacked. Again, apologies, I've got a bit of a cold, so apologies for my voice, but this is the 3rd tactic running where you've been sacked as Man City manager. So, job history. So we were sacked when we were 4th. So let's just go here. History, managers. So I was sacked on the 19th of May at the end of the season, and Antonio Conte's taken over. So let's see the schedule and see what happened with Man City using this formation. Lost the charity Community Shield, whatever you want to call it. But then in the Premier League, they beat Huddersfield, drew with Liverpool, beat Fulham, beat Newcastle convincingly, and Bournemouth in the Premier League. So 5 games unbeaten start. Beat Napoli away 6-0 in the Champions League, which is a great result, but lost first Premier League game of the season away at Tottenham. Beat Fulham EFL Cup third round convincingly 6-0. Lost away in the Premier League to Arsenal 3-2. Let's move forward to October. Beat Spartak in the Champions League. Cardiff in the Premier League. Drew with Chelsea Premier League. Convincingly beat Lyon away Champions League. Burnley beat Burnley away in the Premier League. Can't get my words out. Lost in the EFL Cup on penalties to Southampton. Beat Everton in the Premier League and Lyon in the Champions League, but lost to Brighton in the Premier League away. Beat Leicester. Lost to Napoli in the group stage of the Champions League, but by then I think they're through, are they? Maybe. Okay, Premier League. December. Beat Man City, but lost to Man United at home, which isn't good. Beat Spartak in the Champions League group stage. Lost again in the Premier League to Wolves this time, but bounced back with 2 wins, including a 5-1 against West Ham. Lost to Southampton away in the Premier League. Beat Liverpool Premier League. Beat Luton in the FA Cup third round. Beat West Brom in the fourth round. Lost to Bournemouth away Premier League. Beat Tottenham at home in the Premier League. Then lost to Arsenal in the Premier League. Beat Blackburn FA Cup fifth round. Drew with Porto in the first round knockout phase. Then a run of an unbeaten run in all competitions. 4-4 in the Premier League with Chelsea. 4-0 against Burnley. Beat Everton. Beat Porto to go through to the second knockout round. Beat Arsenal in the FA Cup sixth round. Beat Leicester FA Cup semi-final. Beat Napoli Champions League quarter-final first leg. Beat United in the Premier League. Beat Napoli in the second game. Beat Watford and Palace in the Premier League. So it was a long unbeaten run there in all competitions that come crashing down when they lost away at Wolves 5-2. Oh dear. Lost 4-0 in the Champions League semi-final to Liverpool away. Won the second game 2-1, but the damage was done. Lost to West Ham, but won the FA Cup final. So, disappointing. Champions League semi-final. FA Cup final they won, but Premier League they didn't do much. Let's have a look at the players, how they performed. And as you can see, he was sacked at the end of the season. De Bruyne was the main man, 7.68, followed by Walker, Sterling and Sane. Goals-wise, Aguero 34 from 56, Sane 20, De Bruyne 18 with 20 assists, Sterling 17 with 23 assists. So disappointing. It's a disappointing season for, apart from the FA Cup, for Man City, who finished fourth in the Premier League. That was tactic number 3. So to the final tactic, the FM scout Catenaccio's tactic. It's attacking, shorter passing, passing to space, play out of defence, low crosses, work the ball into the box, focus play down each side, lower tempo. In transition, you distribute to the fullbacks, you counter press. Out of possession, you defend narrower, high defensive line and line of engagement. Extremely urgent, you prevent short goalkeeper distribution, you get stuck in, using tighter marking and use of the offside trap. It's 4-2-3-1 wide. Goalkeeper and defend Edison. 2 wing backs on attack, Mendy and Walker. Ball playing defenders, Laporte and company. Deep line playmaker De Bruyne. Fernandinho box to box. Sane and Sterling the inside forwards, with Silva advanced attacking midfielder and Aguero advanced forward on attack. Again, strongest players playing the positions based on their abilities according to the game. Let's see what happens for tactic number 4. Will we get sacked for a 4th time? We survived the season and we actually won the Premier League. Man City won from Liverpool 2nd, Tottenham 3rd, Chelsea 4th, Man United 5th and Arsenal 6th. Let's see the schedule. Lost the Community Shield. Beat Huddersfield in the opening game but lost away to Liverpool in the Premier League, which is disappointing. Big win in the Premier League against Bournemouth, against Fenerbahce in the Champions League. lost to Spurs away, Premier League. EFL Cup, won in the third round and then beat Arsenal 4-3 in the Premier League. Beat Roma in the Champions League. Drew with Chelsea, Premier League. Drew with Schalke, Champions League. Then there was quite a long unbeaten run, which you can already see we're on from the EFL Cup third round. Beat Wolves in the EFL Cup fourth round. I think I've already said that. Beat Everton, beat Schalke, beat Brighton, Leicester and Fenerbahce in the Champions League. Beat United in the Premier League 3-1. Beat Roma, Champions League 1-0. Knocked out on penalties against Crystal Palace in the EFL Cup quarter-final. Big win against West Ham, but defeat against Southampton in the Premier League. Beat Liverpool in the Premier League and Walsall in a big win in the third round of the FA Cup. 4-0 against Fulham Premier League, 3-0 against Newcastle in the Premier League and 3-1 in the FA Cup fourth round. Big wins against Tottenham and Arsenal in the Premier League and Liverpool in the FA Cup fifth round. Drew with PSG, first knockout round, first leg. Lost to Everton in the Premier League away. Thumped PSG at home, Champions League. Went through to the next round. Big win against Southampton, FA Cup sixth round. Beat Millwall, FA Cup semi-final to book their place in the final. Lost 2-1 against Man United in the first leg of the Champions League quarter-final. Revenge defeat with 3-1 away win to go through. And in between those games, there's 3 games against United in a row. They won away in the Premier League. 3 wins in the Premier League followed Watford, Palace and Wolves. Barcelona away, won 2-0. Followed by a 5-0 thumping at home, which is a great result. Premier League, beat West Ham. Lost the FA Cup final to Fulham, unfortunately. But won the Champions League. The Champions League final 2-0 against Real Madrid. So, Man City have had a really good season. Got to Champions League final and won it. FA Cup final got beaten, unfortunately. And the EFL Cup, it was just the quarter-final stage. So it's Premier League and Champions League double for City. Average ratings-wise, let's have a look. De Bruyne is the main man, with Aguero on 7.41 behind him, with Fernandinho and Laporte. Goals, look at this. Aguero, 48 goals from 57 games. Fernandinho on 18, Sterling 17, De Bruyne 13. Assists, Sane 17, De Bruyne 16 and Sterling 15. David Silva on 10, but Sergio Aguero, 48 goals from 57 games. Outstanding. So that's been the only tactic where we didn't get sacked as manager of Man City. They won the Premier League and a Champions League double. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all the videos that will be coming out. I'll be testing the same 4 tactics with all the Premier League teams, just to see how they go. Let me know what you think of the video and the concept, and let me know if you download the tactics yourself. The links are in the description. See how you get on. Thanks again for watching. See you all next time.